Alright, should we get
All
started?
right. Good evening, Salary Commission. And Chair Azim, I'll let you call us to order and I'll do a quick roll call.
Sounds good. So today is May 13. I call to order the Salary Commission meeting. Kevin Moss, can you do the roll call?
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Ibrahim Turki.
Present.
Masood Rahid.
Present.
Vice Chair Amjad.
Present.
And Chair Azim.
Present.
You have a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Good. Let's get started. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the Salary Commission of last week, the May 6th meeting. Does everybody has a chance to look at them?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Can I get everybody who wants to approve the minutes? Go ahead.
Motion to approve?
Moved.
Do we have a second to approve?
A second. Second.
Okay. All who wants to approve say yay.
Yay.
Yay. Motion to approve the minutes of last meeting has passed with 4 votes. Let's move on to the next agenda item, which is to discuss and approve the bylaws that have been proposed. Adriana, do you want to take over?
Certainly. Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. And at the May 1st Salary Commission meeting, there were a couple of amendments that were proposed to the bylaws. One of them was at FISA's specific request, and this related to the criteria for the membership of the board. I did not get any information from FISA, so I think that I'm going to have to wait to get that information. However, the second element that I recommended be changed was the vote for passing or for taking any action currently under, and I don't know if you all have access to the bylaws. I have them in front of me if you want me to share my screen.
That will be great if you can share it.
All right.
Just to make sure we are looking at the same thing.
Yes. So can you all see?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And so the section that currently talks about votes, let's see. Why am I not finding it? Membership, meetings. Okay, here we go. So a quorum must be present. So under Article 4, relating to meetings, Section D, it indicates that a quorum must be present to transact business or perform any action at a meeting, and that a quorum shall consist of at least 3 voting and alternate members of the commission. Subsection E was previously changed to indicate that any action must be approved by a majority of the members present. However, that this is contradictory to the following items, which are in parentheses, which says, example, if 3 members are in attendance, all 3 have to vote in favor for any action to be approved. So there's a discrepancy there. I did look at the statute that governs these types of commissions, and you do have the ability as the commission to determine whether you want a unanimous vote or a majority vote. So that is the decision that you can make at this time. Currently, as it is, as I discussed, it is a contradiction, so we definitely want to fix that.
I'm having some technical difficulties. I'm gonna drop and rejoin.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys. Zoom kind of half crashed to me. I could hear, but I couldn't see anymore. Go ahead, Adriana. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Now we can see two of you, just so
Oh.
you know. But one of you is frozen in time. Okay. And now it's gone. As I mentioned, there's currently a contradiction within Article 4, Section E, because on the one hand, it says that any action can be approved by majority, and within the parentheses, it says that it has to be unanimous. The commission has to decide what it would like to do with respect to taking action, whether it wants a majority vote or a unanimous vote.
Could I offer an alternate explanation for the D and E? Because I don't see a contradiction at all here. It is just a matter of defining how the majority is being counted. Remembering the fact that we are supposed to be 5 members and then some alternates. So then majority out of majority of the 5 is 3. So if you look at it that way, then this is calling out that the majority is supposed to be 3. We are supposed to be 5 members. Then it should have so for the majority should be 3. So and then all 3 members should vote one way. Otherwise, it's not valid. That's how I see it. But other people can look at it different way.
The way I'm reading it is actually matching Adriana. So it says any action must be approved by a majority of the members present at a meeting. It doesn't say has to be approved by the majority of the board members. It specifically says majority of the members present at a meeting.
Okay.
So I actually see it the way I do see the issue that Adriana is raising. It's basically saying
So I want to add that to, like, it's if 3 people are present, then 2 will make the majority.
So how do we, so first, I think before resolving the contradiction, as a board, do we feel it is okay for 2 people to be able to take actions to approve things? Or even if we don't have all 5, do we still want 3 to vote? What do board members feel about that?
I personally feel like if it's a 5-member committee, at least 3 people should agree on a decision out of 5 and not 2, I feel that.
I agree with that as well.
Yeah, my personal preference is to be that also. We don't want to create a loophole where we have 3 in attendance and then out of that 2 decide. So to me, I actually prefer what's in the bracket. So to me, the contradiction should be fixed by saying something like any action must be approved by the majority of the board members. Right, so it should always be 3, irrespective of how many people are in the meeting. And if we only have 3 people attending, then all 3 have to agree. So that's kind of my preference as well.
Okay, that makes sense. And that's exactly, I mean, what you all discussed are the considerations that other commissions have had to make. Similarly, because a lot of times you don't have a quorum, or you have just the basic. I'm sorry, a lot of times you don't have all 5 members attending. Sometimes it's just the 3 or 4 that are required for a quorum. So I think that, let's see, any action must be approved by a majority of the members present at a meeting. So I would probably add something like, however, if only 3 members are in attendance, all 3 have to vote in favor for any action to be approved.
So I think the line before the bracket should be fixed, right? It's saying any action must be approved by a majority of the members present at a meeting. I would prefer that to be changed to any action must be approved by majority of the board members, right? That's what we are saying, which will be 3 always.
Okay.
Still, the word present needs to go away.
Yeah, the present at a meeting needs to go away.
The word present, yeah, that.
And
Audrey,
even
you probably want to I'm sorry. I was going to say you might want to make sure that we are consistent in calling it the board, or it's probably the commission.
Sorry.
Sorry, thank you.
And now
And
we
then I
need
think
to
present at a meeting in accordance with section D probably needs to be removed.
Trying to see the impact here. Quorum must be present to transact business. A quorum shall consist of at least 3 voting.
Yeah, I think referring to section D would have made sense if we were saying that if we meet quorum of just 3 people, then 2 can approve. But since we are basically saying that we need 3 irrespective of how many people are attending, I think the reference to section D about when we have a quorum is just going to be confusing. It's basically we are saying total majority of. So, and then instead of however, if only, we just say, for example.
Okay, how does that look?
That looks good to me. Do we need to say example or for example? I don't know. My English probably is not the best. But... that looks good to me.
since we are nitpicking here, we're kind of looking at the English and for the future date. So we do need to now add another word here if only 3 members are in attendance. 3 commission members are in attendance. So.
Okay.
Any other changes?
It looks good. For example, if only 3 members are in attendance, all 3 must vote in favor of an action to be happened. It's like a shorter word afterwards.
Okay. Any other?
Yep, there is another change that I would like to propose. Instead of saying in favor, it needs to be called out as unanimous.
For example.
Yeah, it must vote unanimously.
Yep,
like,
that is true.
You can make it more concise, like.
No, but
Yeah,
I think what Masood's point is that all 3 could be voting against it also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably like the start, any action must be approved. I think that's the reason why they were saying in favor. So I think that's the reason why Masood is saying in favor, because it starts by saying any action must be, to approve it, you have to vote in favor of it, right? So that
okay.
I think that's where.
Okay, we can, yeah, I see what you're saying. To approve by a majority, the word approve, okay. So
Right.
the 2 things.
Exactly, like if we don't have, like if everybody is voting against it, then obviously it's not getting approved.
Okay.
Understood. So take this out?
We can remove the unanimously if we want to keep it short. I think Masood's comment was that we should remove in favor was the one that he was actually more concerned about. But I think just the start of the sentence clarifies that, so I think I'm okay with this. Any other changes? Okay. So do we have a motion to approve section E of this article to approve Article 4, Section E to approve the? Do we have a motion to approve the changes in the bylaws, Article 4, Section E?
Motion to approve.
Aye.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Let's do a vote. All who agree to change the bylaws or Article 4, Section E, say yay.
Yay.
Yep.
Yeah. Anybody who wants to is against this change in the article, say nay. Okay, motion to update the bylaw Article 4, Section E, with the modification being shown here is approved. The new Section E will read, any action must be approved by a majority of commission members. For example, if only 3 members are in attendance, all 3 must vote in favor of any action to be approved. Change is approved.
I will stop sharing.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go on to our agenda. Next item on the agenda is the interview questions that we wanted to discuss. Thank you for everybody who sent me the questions. I kept everything. Maybe I didn't keep the exact same wording because obviously like people were asking similar questions. So let me share my email and we can start with that. And then if anybody thinks of any other things while we are discussing it, I think this is a good time to add those. So let's see. Let me know if you guys can see. Is this big enough or too small?
It's small.
We can, okay, I could see, but yeah, bigger is better. Yes, that's fine.
Let me
Good.
zoom in. Is this better?
That's good.
Okay. So I like the way somebody had divided it into like sections. I kind of kept it in the 2 sections. The first one is kind of covering the roles, the responsibilities, and the time commitment, and the second is in terms of like the salary perception and maybe comparison with other boards. So first, I think is just going over the main responsibilities. I think we all want to ask that question. So just stop me. I'll go over the questions. Just stop me in the middle, any that you want to discuss or have any feedback. The second was, what are the main differences in responsibilities between chair and other commissioners? Some people had asked this specifically for the chair. Some people had said we can ask both. I personally like asking this question to both the chair and other commissioners so we can get like how each basically are seeing his role. Like if there's disagreement about what chair thinks of the differences versus the board thinks of those differences, that will be good for us to know. So I actually want this question to be asked to all the commissioners. Oh, I have a duplicate here between 2 and 3. Sorry about that. What committees, board, and community outreach are you required to? Oh, no. Okay, there's a difference. Okay. Are you required to attend versus which ones you need to attend to be effective, even if they're not required? So this was trying to basically see what is kind of considered must responsibility versus what they attend kind of because effectively it helps them do a better job. What do you guys feel? Should we keep that as 2 separate questions or just combine it into one? Question 3 and 4.
I think the 4 has a little bit more meat to it and more relevant, and especially if we are trying to get to as people are going to be answering number 4, they would automatically try to differentiate with the ones that they have to attend and the ones that they need to attend to be effective. Number 4 question is more meaty.
You can merge them, like, yeah.
Okay, I will do that. 3 and 4. Okay, so there were a couple of questions here that was interesting. I think one was how the roles have changed in the last couple of years, basically with multiple changes happening. And then the second question in my mind was up till 2021, if kind of when the first board met, the position of other than the chair, the most of the commissions were the salary seemed like more targeted towards a part-time position. I think after that, we change to a full-time position. So I also had a question on for the commissioner that have been in office since that time, how their role or responsibilities or their ability to do things have changed. If we want, we can also combine this to say how the role and responsibility has changed in recent years instead of specifically saying last couple of years, and then also touch on, and then kind of combine it into say, and also how changing the role from part-time to the full-time has affected their ability. So we can kind of, if you want, we can combine these. Some of, not all the commissioners have been in office since 2021. So this probably, but again, like we can have the question and the person can say that I wasn't here at that time. So
I
if you
see
want,
them all three questions to be different, and especially in the light of the fact that now we are trying to determine that the as a salary for next 2 years. And so I wanted to make sure that if we are going to go and look at the past salaries as they were being rolled out, especially from 2023 to now, I want to make sure that the role has changed. So we should consider the implications of that role change. If the role has not changed, then that would be what we'll take one path. And if role has changed, then we have to actually consider the change of those changes, both positive and negatives, and say that there's what impact should those changes have on our for our recommendations.
I believe that the change, the last time the salary was considered, which is the last commission, at least since the last commission, the change happened before the last commission. That's what I'm trying to say. So like in the last couple of years, all the commissioners, I believe, were full-time. And the salary was adjusted to reflect that.
I see. So what you're saying is that what you're suggesting, Ibrahim, is that we don't have to go to 4 years ago. We should be considering the changes from the last 2 years. Is that kind of where you are going?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
So,
position that I have. Then how it has changed from the last from 2023 to now. So we can consider path A that yes, it has changed. So now we have to accommodate that change. If it has not changed, then it is relatively a simpler path that we may choose to take.
Chair, I believe Ann Ober has some information to share
oh,
that
please
could be
go ahead.
relevant to this. Yes.
So I
thank
have
you,
not
go ahead.
had a chance to introduce myself, but I'm Ann Ober. I sent you all amazing emails. I know they were brilliant, but really Faiza wrote them, so Faiza gets all of the credit. But I came tonight because I had heard that during the last meeting that there were some basic questions like this that were bubbling up, and there wasn't somebody who can answer them for you. So I just wanted to be present, and as I'm able to, I'm happy to step in. You're welcome to ask this question of the commissioners, but I also can answer it for you if you would like me to tonight. So we did actually have one commissioner when the charter changed who chose to remain a part-time commissioner because he had not yet been elected as a full-time commissioner. That was Roy at the time. Roy Rogers, and he came off of the board this past year. He was replaced by Jason Snyder. And so now as we're working on their budgets, we're actually funding them all as full-time commissioners because at this point they are all acting under the purview and with the salaries of full-time commissioners.
Okay. Thank you. So the difference in my mind between question number 5 and question number 6 is this. Question 5 is basically saying what the primary question on our side is that between the last commission and now, how the roles and responsibility have changed, and do we need to adjust based on that? The reason question 6 was added is because to say that we want to do we want to revisit to see even though there's the salary is based on the expectation of a full-time, is the work really full-time or not? That's where I was thinking that question can play a part. I guess what I'm hearing is that they are hired as full-time, the salary is as full-time, so maybe that question doesn't need to be kind of discussed anymore, we should go with the assumption that this is full, and then some of the other questions will touch on that anyways. So if everybody kind of has the same thing, I can remove question number 6.
I agree. I think we can.
Yes, me too. I don't see the reason to ask that question. And by default, what would happen is to number 7. That is okay. Let's go to number 7, and then we'll talk about it.
Sure. Since we are discussing like what questions we should ask, one of the suggestions was to ask this question: how does commission members feel about asking or not asking this question?
So for me, number 7 is irrelevant. Even if they have other jobs elsewhere, it is the same thing. If an employee has, or in any company, have a side job or side gig, the company does not ask them, as long as it does not create a conflict of interest. So we may ask that question in that vein, that do you, but again, even if there is a job with a conflict of interest, it still does not play into this salary commission sandbox. So,
what do other people feel about that, Ibrahim, Nadia?
I can agree with Masood. I don't think it's needed.
I think, yeah, sure, because if we have decided that they are working full-time, they're not part-time, then that question can go away too, that if they're doing other things.
Okay. And maybe this question number 8 kind of will touch on that.
Because in the next question, we are asking them about the time per week. So
Right.
if they have another job, we will know that how much time they're spending on this.
Yeah, I think the difference between question 7 and 8 is one is explicitly asking whether, sorry, Madhi, I think, are you on mute or we lost your voice? Madhi, you were saying something?
Oh, sorry. Did my voice got cut off?
At least for me, yes.
Oh, I was saying that in the next question, in the question number 8, by asking them how much time they're spending per week, it kind of will tell us if they're doing another thing or not, if it's relevant or not. Like if all of them are spending equal number of time, we can judge on the basis of that.
Okay. Okay, since there's agreement on removing that, I will remove question number 7 also. And then I think most of us are saying like question number 8 kind of should cover that. Question number 9, outside business hours, how often do you need to be on a call? Kind of like I think 8 and 9 kind of covers together in terms of like the time commitment that they have. Okay, another question, question number 10. Is this relevant? Should we ask this, or is
it
not
also
relevant?
goes away, because we have already established and describing that this is a full-time position. So this number 10 goes away. Even if somebody thinks that, yeah, they can do, I heard in one of the interviews, Commissioner or former Commissioner Roy Rogers was saying it is a part-time and it should be part-time. However, that is irrelevant right now, because the commissioners are full-time.
Any other opinions?
Yeah, I don't think it's needed anymore. No.
Madhya, you have an opinion?
I think I agree. Again, it's the same part-time. It just branches out of the same question, that if you're considering them all full-time. So we don't need to, maybe.
Okay. I'll remove question number 10 also. Are there any special projects or initiative managed by you? I think so. This is basically maybe going beyond the journal and focusing on maybe their roles that the other specific people are doing. So I think yes, just give us a better insight into the different responsibilities that might be different between different consulars.
Yes, the only thing that I see about that one is that some commissioners will have special projects, some commissioners will not. However, if the way I'm going to treat, if people do answer this question, is that as if everybody, if one commissioner has one or two or good examples, then we will assume that all the commissioners will have these projects at some point in time in their life as a commissioner. So this will be applicable as a universally for everyone.
Maybe where you're going with that, Masood, is that this question is more targeted towards understanding their roles and responsibilities, not necessarily to differentiate the salaries. Maybe that's kind of
exactly what it is, because I think there's only two levels that we are. One is for the chair, another level is for commissioner. So that's it. So we will just assume that everybody is.
So I think that actually, I don't know whether that is in our purview or not to change that, but I have the same opinion also that we are setting it for the next 2 years, not on the current time what special project is doing it. So we should consider consider the two levels. And then I think this is a very important question because we are not setting the salary just for 1 year, but for the next 2 years at least. And then our recommendation and stuff probably will be looked at by the next salary commission as well. So get some idea of how they are seeing their role changing in the next 2-3 years. And maybe instead of 3 years, we can say 2 years if people feel kind of stronger about not going beyond that. But to me, this was also an important question to ask.
It is a good question to ask. I agree with that, but I also agree with your own recommendation that let's pare it down to 2 years, because there will be another salary commission in 2027 who would be weighing on these questions again for another 2 years. So we should leave the 27-28 year out of this conversation today.
Okay. Any other feelings, Ibrahim, Maria?
Yeah. If I may, I would suggest changing the wording a little bit, so it's not going to be personal. To see how do you see the role of the chair or the commissioners rather than your role. So it's not going to be personal to just see how we get the answer to see how the position itself changes, not the personal duties or roles.
I like that.
Make sense?
It does to me, and I agree with your wording change. Is good wording change.
Okay. Any questions? So I know Masood, you sent me some feedback. I haven't gotten a chance to look at that.
That's okay. I will weave those things in
So yeah, so basically what I wanted to say, like, just feel free to give the feedback here. Anything that you think is missing, or anybody else has anything that they want to add that we haven't covered in this section?
The only thing I would add is that I would like to get some concrete examples for question number 5. How has the role and responsibility changed, the scope and complexity in the last couple of years? I would like them to not talk. Yes, they will talk in generality, in a general or universal way, but I would like to get some good concrete examples for me to understand them. I understand things better if I have an example.
Okay, I will just add it to the question 5 to say like some concrete examples will be great.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anything else before moving to the next section?
I think we can move.
Okay.
We have to change that next 2 to 3 years to just 2 years, I think. Do you want to do it now?
Sure. If you, I was gonna do it offline and send it to you guys.
Okay, sure.
And yeah. Yeah, actually, maybe since we are making a decision, I think I should. What's the best way to do this, Kevin? Should I modify it on the air or modify it somewhere else, or send you the notes and you can modify and include it as part of the minutes? What's the best way to do it?
The easiest way would probably, based on the conversation, that you modify it on your end, and then you send an email to all the salary commission members and copy it to me, and that way we could share these questions in advance with the commission members before their interviews on the 22nd.
Sounds perfect. I will send it out after the meeting then. Okay, so the first one on the salary perception and do you believe the salary currently fairly reflects the scope and responsibility of your role? Again, this is one of the input, right? It's not we are asking them what the salary should be, but rather what their feedback is.
Yeah, because I think it'll make them feel good that at least they have some say to explain their thoughts. So
Right. Yeah.
It is, yes, it's a word fairly is good there, but I may also say that this is the answer to that question is going to be about the same. That what do we do? What is our roles and responsibilities? And they will do the same. They will provide the similar nuanced answers as we have in question number 5, question number 11, question number 12. So this is about the same theme. That what do we do?
I actually personally like this question because in addition to the role, they can also tell us if there's some particular hardship or some particular concerns that they have that is not covered necessarily from the role's responsibility side. So I like to keep it and let them answer. And if, like during the interview, if they haven't answered the way we want it to be answered, we can always ask follow-up questions.
yes, I think we can sift through the answers in the end, right? We don't have
right. And the way I'm thinking about it is they will have all the questions and maybe in their discussion, they will cover most of it,
yes,
if not all. The other was, do you see any differences between the responsibilities of Washington County Board and the other 3 boards in the metro area? Should we just highlight which boards we are specifying, or is this clear enough, you guys think?
we can highlight, I think, if we want to compare with Multnomah and the other counties.
I think that the 3 counties are known as, Multnomah, Clackamas, and Multnomah and Clackamas. That's it, I guess, right? Yeah. That's within the state, unless we want to go to Clark County, which is outside metro. Or
Okay, so we should just explicitly say Multnomah, and is that what we are saying, or so what? I think it'll be more clear if we ask them particular questions that what they are, what we're asking about. Okay.
I think in that external data, it's Multnomah, Clackamas, and Spokane. They go like at the top. 3 are these.
I thought external data had even more than that.
Yes, they do, but the top 3, like it's Washington, Multnomah, Clackamas, Spokane, and then it goes on Snohomish, and it goes further. Pierce, Marion, Lane.
Oh, but I don't know if there's any significance in the order, though.
I'm just trying to look at the population size.
I don't know if it's fair to assume that they would know what the Spokane County is like. I think most of them might know that they should be familiar probably with Clackamas and Multnomah, but going all the way to Spokane, some of the commissioners might not be familiar with what they do there.
I think it's a good point. We should just maybe limit it to Multnomah and Clackamas. And make it
Sounds good.
Shorter and easier to analyze.
Okay, I will modify the question to highlight the thing. And then I think this was something that was brought up in the public feedback in last meeting also, that the support staff for Washington County might be different or not. So, so that's why I think the reason behind this question. So any feedback on to keep it or not?
Yeah, I wanted it in there because she mentioned it.
It depends if we are we going to consider it in determining the salaries, whether
think-
how much staff they have?
We can consider, at this point, I would rather have the data and then figure out versus later
Okay.
on trying to decide it and don't know this.
Okay.
Okay, number 4 for a county board commissioner. Okay, so this was something that I saw, like some of the board members, some of the comparisons across different boards, they actually have 3 board members versus 5. So just wanted to understand, in their opinion, how does is the work affected by having 3 or 5 board members? I don't know the answer, but I wanted to basically understand, in their opinion, how it may or may not change. The 2 other boards you're asking about also have 5 members, so that does not affect. So keep this question, or
Yes.
No, yeah, it will not hurt. Just have
okay.
it.
The last question, I personally am not so sure that I want to ask them, because this is something that we should be doing.
Yeah.
I
So
think it's linked to the first question. So we can try to merge it in a different, make it simpler if you don't want to be very specific comparison wise. It's just that what they feel about. I'm sure everybody has access to public data and
so in that case, should we change the first question to say, do you believe your current salary reflects the scope and responsibility of your role, as well as how it compares to the other boards in the area? Maybe something like that.
yeah. Just add something to that. Like.
Whereas I was kind of thinking that we should not ask question number 5 or any variation of that. That for only one reason, that is, it forces people to think in terms of the numbers, whereas if people even involuntarily say something about the numbers, then it will have an impact on us as a commission and members, and say, okay, somebody said this, somebody threw out this number, and so those I don't want to be biased by any input in that manner.
Would that not be the case for question number 1 also?
Question number 1 only calls out for the fairness of it.
So sorry, how is question 1 versus 5 different in terms of the influence that you are worried about?
So the question number 1 is to me is talking about the fairness of it, not talking about the leading into somebody involuntary and was saying something about in giving us a number. Number 5 has that connotation there that somebody may say, oh, well, it would be so nice if I get this number. Because yes, I have, and such county provides this number to its commissioners. So there is a number associated with the answer put to number 5, whereas number 1 only asks for this fair or not.
Okay, but I still. Sorry, go ahead, Pandya.
Sorry, you go ahead.
Please go ahead.
I don't see that the answer needs a number that I give me 150K or give me 200K, but I can see where you're coming from. I think we can change the wording a little bit and merge it to the first question.
And to me, the first question is not yes and no. Like if somebody says yes, then are we saying they are paid too much? Are they saying paid too, like, to me, it will have some discussion on based on their current salary, right? Otherwise, what information is yes versus no answer?
Yeah, we just need to see their, that's why it's titled perception, what they feel. It's what's their perception about their, it's in the end, it's again on us. We are not required to give a quantitative value to every question. That they answered this to this question, so now we have to give it this many points, and like it just, we can take all this data and then sift through it.
Okay, so let me make it more generic maybe, and kind of take the leaf out of Ibrahim's feedback for the other question. Instead of saying, do you believe your current salary and scope of your role? Let's make it more generic.
Yeah.
Let's
Instead
say
of the reviewed word, maybe
in your opinion, does the Washington County's commissioner and chair salary fairly reflects the scope and the responsibility of Washington County role and responsibility, Washington County Commissioner and Chair's role and responsibility. And I think that might give it specifically, like that might make it more generic instead of people thinking my pay or think like this is kind of we are asking them not as your pay, but rather their opinion on the pays of everybody on the commission. That might make it more generic, maybe more quantitative.
Yeah, that's what we want.
That will work out better than number 5 as is.
Okay, so I will change number 1. To ask about
now I wanted to create a conflict by asking a question or asking the commission here to consider another question.
Let me give you 1 minute and then let's come to it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I would like to know, in the opinion of the board, that the commissioners and the chair, if they are going to consider, do they have a similarly look-alike in terms of the governance and the scope? Another somewhere. Let me ask the question the way I wrote it. Which county, local or afar, in your opinion, most closely resemble Washington County's scope and governance structure?
Okay, so maybe instead of, okay, so are we saying that we open it up to the all of US? Are we saying which counties in Oregon or Washington? Or are we saying that out of the counties that we will be looking at comparison that we already have, so maybe we should be more specific, right? So we should say out of these counties, in their opinion, where the role matches the most. Is that kind of where we are going?
Yeah, the governance structure and the scope is closest. It is a conflict. I understand, because this will because what they will do, or what I will do, is the moment they're going to say, for instance, Clark County is the similar. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go and look at it what Clark County numbers are. So that's why I said it's a conflict. We 4 of us can decide should we create that conflict or not.
Yeah, I think the other thing that makes it hard for me is that, let's say they answer about one county. One, it's their opinion, right? Especially if the county is in Washington and not Oregon. And that doesn't tell us about the other counties, how closely or they may not be, right? Are the 3 almost very similar and one is just slightly more the other? So I also will struggle to figure out what to do with that data personally. Ibrahim,
Understood.
Nadia?
And let's not worry about it, because we already have about 8-9 questions, very good questions.
Okay. I have taken notes. I will send those out, and then we can send those questions. Any other thing that we want to discuss here before we move on to the next agenda item?
No, I think I'm fine.
Okay, let's move on to the next agenda item. We wanted to discuss the final reports components. I think we have a little bit more time, but wanted to see if you guys have some feedback on what it might be. I do see Mary has also joined, and
yeah,
I do have so maybe let's take a minute here. Thanks, Mary, for joining. I actually, after saying I don't have any more questions, I did think of a question that has been puzzling me, so I'll just ask it here. So we had some feedback from two of the commissioners in our last meeting. One commissioner and chair. I think one feedback was that in terms of the special roles and responsibilities for Washington County is that they serve on the board of the clean water. And then I think feedback from chair was that should legally not be considered as part of the compensation or something. To me, those two things were actually more confusing than clarifying. And I have some questions there, maybe. So I'll just ask, so one is, my understanding is that when we are electing a Washington County commissioner, we are asking them as part of their work to be on the clean water, on the clean water. So to me, this is part of their responsibility. Am I misunderstanding?
I believe from what I heard of Council President Harrington say was that, yes, they, I saw that Ann Ober just got off, and I was texting her to say she might want to get on because
she's here actually, Mary.
Did she get back on, or
Hi, Mary.
she never got off? Okay.
So and should I ask the question again, or did you hear that?
That question is for Ann, and I'll address the other one that I got back on to address.
So the question about whether or not she is the head of the board, or they share dual roles, right? They have hats for both of them. The answer is yes. They are the board for both agencies. In this case, the salary is set based on their experience with Washington County. And it is consistent with other departments that they would have multiple other boards that are also in their purview, but that their salary is based on their service to the county. So for instance, at Clackamas County, they have actually a number of county service districts that report directly in. They have NCPRD, which Mary knows very well. And then they have West, which is their water district. They have a number of different districts that actually feed into the board as a whole. But today you are here as the board, as the salary commission for the Washington County Board. Does that make sense? And then they pay a portion of the salary to us. I believe it's actually about 8% of the salary comes from Clean Water Services, or has in the past come from Clean Water Services for their service to that organization.
Okay, I think I understood, but let me just paraphrase on what I understood. First answer is that while this being on this particular clean water might be unique for Washington County, in general, these kind of responsibilities are not unique. They happen in other boards, so that's one thing. Second thing is that we are specifying what their salary should be, and we should not worry behind the economics of what percentage is coming from.
Correct.
Okay. I think that clarifies it. Thank you so
much. And actually, if you are doing the salary adjustment based on the other organizations of comparable character, they all have this as a comparable character.
Perfect. Yeah. That's really good. Mary, sorry, I misunderstood.
No, that's okay.
Go ahead.
I was glad that Ann was still on to answer the specifics about that. What I was asked to follow up on was your question about the column on the external comparators for additional adjustments. And so in talking to the HR person at Washington County, Cassandra, I was told that those two columns under additional adjustment for commissioner and chair were reflective of any adjustments that the board had deemed appropriate for July 1st of 2025. The first column where it says salary is their July 1, 2024 salaries. The reason that an increase is shown for Multnomah County but not the other counties is because that increase was known at the time that this data was gathered. It was not known for the other agencies as to what their July 1st, 2025 increase will be. If it's based on a cost of living increase, that percentage might not have been calculated yet. So it wasn't known.
Thanks, Mary. I'm just sharing the data also. This is super helpful because one of the concerns that I had was whether the numbers are consistent or not and what to make of this. So this is super helpful. So the CELVI, just what I understood, the CELVI is the data for 2024. The adjustment is the data that we had on what increases might be there for 2025. And in some cases, that data may or may not be present. Is that a good summary?
Yeah, where it's shown as being the same, if in that additional adjustment column, it was because the increases weren't known yet at the time the data was gathered. There was also a question when I was on before about PERS, and it was verified that Washington County doesn't pick up the PERS for its employees or commissioners, but that whereas like Multnomah County, City of Portland, etc. would. However, the charge of this commission is to focus on the salary and not trying to balance out, health insurance contributions, other benefits.
Sounds good. Any other questions for Mary before we let her go?
Well, I think it's clarified now that we are not focusing on the adjustments and we are just focusing on the base salary. So
That's exactly what I got also. Thank you so much, Mary. That was very helpful.
Okay. Let me know if you have any other questions. I can track those down for you.
Thanks. Thanks, Anne, for answering the other question.
May I actually just do a quick point of order? I'm actually going to have to leave. So I will be back at all of your subsequent meetings, but I didn't have this on my schedule and I have to be up tomorrow morning presenting our whole budget in the morning. It's going to be great. So I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to get up and get my slides ready and go present those. So that's the first piece. The second piece is if there are specific questions that you individually want to reach out to me about, you are welcome to, but I would encourage you just to write them down and have a conversation in this room so that everybody hears them. So even if you do need to reach out to me, let's bring them back into this room. Go for it, Tony.
And before you leave, I was wondering, because one of the things we added to the schedule is this interview with the county administrator. I was wondering if you could actually speak to that since before you leave, because I know that's something that you and I talked about that we haven't talked about with the Salary Commission yet.
Is that okay that I start now?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So a little bit just as a background for you all, I was the city manager for the city of Milwaukee for 8 years before coming over to Washington County. So this is actually the second time I've hung out on a salary commission process. It's super fun and interesting. But Mary, for a while, worked with me while I was there and is brilliant. She's great. And I'm really glad that she was willing to help us out on this commission. My background matters only because I am what is called a credentialed manager. That means that the National Association, I apply and after 7 years of service and with some promises that I'm going to do a lot of homework, they let you become certified. It shows that you have experience in the field when you're applying for work. Tanya Angie is actually the head of that National Association right now. So she is representing all of the city managers in the United States as their president and has been serving for the last 6 months. Her term ends in October. She has a unique perspective on the role of city management, which is part of why I thought you might be interested in talking to her even outside of this process, just because she has a lot of breadth of experience when it comes to the rules and regulations associated with the job and the form of government. We are unique to some of the other commissions that you're going to be talking to, and that she actually is the executive power for the decision making. And in other counties like Multnomah County, the chair is actually the executive decision maker. That is different. It's important to know these things because you're paying someone based on what their authorities are, what burdens they bear, what decisions they have to make. And she does carry different decisions than other agencies do in the region. So my recommendation had been to Tony that originally you were going to talk to her for about 10 minutes, but I think she can lend a lot of understanding about how this form of government, her role and the chair are partnered differently than some of the other surrounding counties. And she can talk in more depth than most people can about just the general form of government. Is that what you were looking for, Tony?
I'm sorry, I missed something. Could you go back a little bit? I understand everything about the form of government, the different and all those things, but which particular person we are talking about here?
My boss.
Okay, and
So Tanya Angie. Tanya Angie is the head of Washington County. She is the CAO or the County Administrative Officer.
Okay.
You all next week are going to be interviewing her. She is not an elected official. She is hired by the body to run the administrative side of the table.
Thank you. I missed it completely. But if I had seen an org chart, it would not be just faux pas on my part.
I don't think I said it. So to be very clear, I made assumptions about who, you knowing who she was. So that's on me. But Tanya is, she is considered the chief executive officer.
Thank you.
And I believe her salary is included on the internal comparators as well. So, and I believe, was Tanya interviewed by the last commission?
So historically, because there is a uniqueness in this form of government, the chief executive officer would also be interviewed so that you understand which portions of the job are being done by the commission and which portions of the job are being done by the appointee.
So she's the chief executive officer, but I see the CFO, chief human resource, chief public affairs, chief equity and inclusion, assistant county administrator. Salary.
Can you show me what you're looking at? Oh, look at that. She's not. Okay, I will talk to them and see if we can make sure that that's updated for you before we get there on Tuesday. Or Tony, if you wouldn't mind sending an email to Cassandra, that would be great.
Sure. I can do that.
What was I going to say? Do you also have an org chart? Would it help to have an org chart?
It'll be great to get that if possible.
Yeah. Okay. We just updated one with the assistant county administrators on it. So I'll send you that one. It just shows the things that Tanya is over. And basically she has 3 direct reports. I'm one of 3. And then each of us has a portfolio that we manage for her. In this case, my role is with all of the internal services. So I do all of our in-house. I do our HR, our finance, our fleet, facilities, parks, IT, county council is my liaison, which is our attorneys, which Adriana is one of. So yes, I am involved in this because I manage for Tanya the internal services for the county. I will send that through Tony, and Tony, you can share the org chart as you deem appropriate, and then we'll correct the salary for the chief executive officer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anne. We let Anne go, I guess. Get her ready. Thank you so much, Anne, for your for the feedback.
Absolutely, and as I probably didn't say, because I am tired and have been writing 48 slides, You all are amazing. I really appreciate you stepping up and your willingness to cover this for the county. It's a huge responsibility, and we couldn't do it without you. So thank you for all your work on it. And I will see you next week.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you, Chair. Didn't mean to interrupt.
No, thank you, Johnny. That was great. Okay, so moving on to our agenda items, let's go back to the presentation, the report format that we wanted to look at. I guess after the meeting, we have a little bit more time. But do we have something that we want to review today in terms of how we are planning on?
I just made a template and shared it with Mr. Masood, but it doesn't have anything at the moment except for some headings and.
Yeah, I think that's all we need. There's no real data that we wanted to see, but if we have some initial feedback on it.
We were told not to share with everybody at the same time. This is a little bit complicated. I don't know.
So since this is part of the open meeting, everybody is looking at it. This is open to public. We should be able to share it now.
Okay.
Mati, I looked at it. It's fine. Actually, it is very much similar to the one that we had when Multnomah County has used it. So I apologize not giving you feedback, but that is appropriate and acceptable.
Okay, thank you. Good. I can share it in email form. I think I can't. I am on my laptop. It's on the other computer. That I drafted it on the other computer. So unless you have it, you can share it if Ms. Faisal wants to see it.
Masood, you're on mute.
I can pull it up. That's all I was saying. So let me get to it right now.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I wanted to add, do we put our questions in our report too? At that point, I just had some questions that I added to the report, and we can.
Questions, what kind of?
The questions that we're going to interview questions was also part of the report.
I don't think they will be part of the report. These are the things that they will, yeah, I think they might show up in the minutes, but I don't think they will be part of the report themselves.
Yeah.
So it's I hope you can see the screen that I'm sharing in this minute.
Yeah, I think this is basically where.
Yeah, it is a template. It is pretty similar to the one that we have received from the Multnomah County, and that's not very different. And it has all the ingredients that we would like to put in the report itself. So yeah, I don't see it changing much. We may have few subsections, but it is pretty generic in that terms.
Yeah, instead of I think the interview questions, we can talk about our understanding of the role instead. I think maybe it will be after the interviews.
Yes, I just left it there. Whatever I had written was just in one place.
Can we go up a bit? I think just the index of the headings I think is probably.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Table of control.
So the way we want to, so summary will cover our actual recommendation. Is that the idea? And then we will have the explanation after that.
Yes. That's how I see it, and that's how it's been in the Multnomah County's report too.
And in the market analysis, in the market, both under the external and internal, we will not just give the tables, but rather will give our reasoning of what we considered or not considered.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I think this looks good to me. I think once we start working on the actual comparison, and I think then these sections will grow. I don't have any specific feedback. Ibrahim, any specific feedback for you?
No, looks good.
Okay. I think now that we have discussed this in our open meeting, also this is public information. So Kevin, I'm assuming this is okay to now share with everybody, not just with the.
Yeah, it is shared on the video, so it's captured. So anything you you make changes as you work on this. You just show it at the next meetings, and then you'll attach it when it's fully ready to vote on as part of your packet.
So is it okay for the other commissioner members to get this report now that we have gone through that, or would you rather just continue on the committee?
You can share the template with them, but any like filling out should only be done by the 2 members working on it, and then report back at a public meeting here.
Perfect. Sounds good.
I do have a quick question, and I've already wanted to make sure that how should we, now that we do not have one attending this meeting, and this is the 3rd meeting that we have, is it okay for us to remove Mr. Garcia for now?
Let's not do it today. I think Anne mentioned that she might reach out to them. I will send an email message to them on the side as well to see whether they want to continue or not. And then we can discuss it in the next meeting.
And also, just according to the bylaws, this is Adriana. According to the bylaws, the member has to miss 3 consecutive meetings, and the chair can then remove them. So I think this is this. Oh, I'm sorry. It has been 3. I'm sorry.
Yeah, technically the meeting is not over. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I have one question, Adriana. Maybe it's for you. In the report, like when you discuss the bylaws that the commission will appoint HR professionals, the term HR professionals is written clearly, and I don't know which one of us. I am not an HR professional, so how does that get worded in our report?
Yes, Madiha, thank you very much for raising that. That is that first issue that I mentioned earlier on that I was waiting for some guidance from FISA. I do have some guidance now, and so what we're going to do is I will make a recommendation for you to change the language so that it accurately reflects your roles, which is, professionals, but just not human resources professionals. And so if that's okay, if we could address that at the next meeting, I think that will work.
Kevin has a comment also. Go ahead, Kevin.
Thank you, Chair. Clarify, Adriana, specifically in the charter language, that's where the 5, their human resources professionals was mentioned, especially in the charter. So this salary commission does not have the ability, even if you change the bylaws, that doesn't affect the charter, which was voted and passed by the voters. So the bylaws would then be in conflict with the charter. The charter supersedes the bylaws. So the board has decided on who to appoint on that. So they chose not to. So that's solely at the discretion of the board.
Got it. So thank you. And I'll probably just touch base with Courtney because we just want to make sure that our current commission is authorized and that all the documentation is in line. So I will just check in with Courtney to see what we can do to make sure we're in the best position to defend any action.
Thanks, Maria, for bringing that up. Thank you, Rana, for following up on that.
Absolutely.
Any other questions before I move on to the next item? One thing that we had decided to not create was, do we want to have an internal committee or like work on the internal comparison? Do people want to vote it now, or do we want to hear back from Yuan first to see if he wants to be a member on one of them? I'm okay postponing it by 1 meeting and seeing if he wants to be involved in that.
I think since we're collecting data, still interviewing, we can wait.
That's what I thought also. I think we have shifted the timelines from when we decided. Okay, so we can put it on the agenda for next week, Tony. Okay, and then our last planned agenda item is the review and adjust the salary commission timeline. So, Tony, if you want to share what our update looks like.
Yes, let me get that for you right here. I just made that change, so. Our emergent timeline, ever changing. Okay, so we did discuss all this, but because there was a lot of conversation with staff around schedules, particularly with the Board of County Commissioners in the midst of their budget work right now. It was just too tight to fit them the day that we originally had talked about. So the best day that was going to work for them was this May 22nd. So kind of shifted things around. And then as we spoke to Anne earlier, she really highly recommended Tanya Angie be interviewed. And so added that to the schedule for next week since we already had that in the schedule. So that kind of pushed out the timeline to the 28th, then being sort of the next meeting after the interviews to really discuss the recommendations at that time. Yes, Masood?
I'm looking ahead. June 9th, I will not be able to participate. So,
okay.
So just and I'll be traveling, so it would be
Yes.
just impossible for me to make time or make arrangements for be able to participate on June 9th.
Okay.
Is it
Yeah.
all of the week of June 9, Masood, or June 9 in particular day?
At this minute, I believe June 9th is in particular, but I have to look at my flight schedules and everything else that would determine when am I coming back.
Okay, so maybe let's talk. So ideally, we want to keep it June, a week of June 2. I think this will be a heavy week creating the final report. So should we target the Thursday of that week then?
I'm going to ask Kevin to weigh in on schedules for just to make sure that he doesn't have a conflict as well. Thursday, so that would be
June 5th.
June 5th. Oops, I'm sorry. Did not mean to
June,
share that.
June
I'll do it on my phone.
5th, we are 5th or 6th. I'm meeting with the board. We may be doing a state house appointment. It may be clear, but I won't know that until I can follow up with this commission next week on that.
Sounds good. Yeah, we have time for.
Sure, and let me look at my flight schedules and see if June 9th will I be able to make it or not. So either we can discuss, and if you give me about 10 minutes, I can do it now, or we can discuss it in next meeting, which is still okay, probably.
Let's cover it so we will have information from Kevin also.
Okay.
It turns out to be that I will not be traveling. However, I'll be away. So on June 9th.
Masood, we can cover it next week.
Okay.
I think we'll have the information from Kevin also.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else you want to cover on this? Any other feedback?
I do want to note that it was determined that June 17th would be the best day to do the final report presentation to the board.
Can you talk about what are the expectations? Like, are we attending the full day, or
it's no. I think we would. I think you would need to select. Oh, yes, Clerk Moss, could you share?
Go ahead, Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. So usually the chair or the vice chair would attend the board meeting, and the 17th is a morning board meeting right now, and just present your report to the commissioners and, offer any comments you have about how the process went, anything the board or county can do better to support you, and then the board would take action on your recommendation. So it would be at most 10 to 15 minutes of that board meeting. That is our budget adoption meeting. So that agenda item would probably be towards the front of the agenda. And that meeting is probably going to start 10:30 or 11 a.m. So kind of in that range. Probably, I would say, block up between like 10:30 to noon, just in somewhere in that range.
I see. And then is it expected to be in person or on Zoom or up to us?
Up to you. You can present by Zoom or in person. I have the ability, much like these Zoom meetings, to promote anyone at any time.
Is normally most of the board members will be in person?
All of the board members will be in person for that meeting.
I also wanted to let you know, I think there's a link in the agenda that is from the last Salary Commission presentation, in case you want to review that.
I did see that.
Okay. Yeah, if you look at the agenda, you can go right to that section of the board's agenda to see the way that it was presented previously, in case that's helpful to you. So yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to point out, was just that that's getting pushed as well. So yeah, if you have any questions or any other, discussion that you want to have.
Yeah, I think one thing I didn't realize before that Kevin mentioned was, like, if we have any feedback on the process itself, that we should give in that as well. So maybe on the week of June 2 and 9, we can have another item to say, like, any process feedback we want to give, so that like whoever is presenting the feedback from all the people. Okay, I think anything else we want to cover here, or this looks good for now?
Looks
Not
good.
hearing anything, so assuming okay. Okay, let's open up for public comments.
Would any members of the public like to provide public comment to the Salary Commission for up to 2 minutes? I'll give you just a moment to raise your hand or get my attention. Not seeing anyone or any hands, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much, Kevin. At this point, I would like to ask if anybody has any other topics that was not part of the planned agenda that they want to cover. Given that we have covered all the agenda items and there is no new agenda being raised, I would like to call this this public meeting adjourned. Thank you so much for everybody for attending. See you guys in the next meeting.
Right. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.